Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney and I'm here with an actual Sew Along Sunday video. Woo! We got sidetracked there at the end of the zipper tutorials and then to get to here. Life has been crazy. Life has happened. Anyway, today we are starting kind of gathering our supplies, looking at our pattern pieces and all of that for the Teddy Designer Top by Style Arc Patterns. I'm actually going to be making my version. This pattern comes with a tunic style top and also kind of a cropped top, and I'm making the cropped version for my daughter. She liked this top and asked for it to be made because it's got the stand-up collar on it and she's got a very long neck, so it's a good little style detail, and we thought it would be just as cute over her baggier jeans as it would be over her skinny jeans for this upcoming fall and winter season. So yeah, let's talk about supplies that we're gonna need. It's very simple. I don't anticipate this sew along being maybe 3 weeks in total. Yeah. And then we'll have a little tutorial of some sort, and then I'm not sure which sew along we're going to go into after that. I'm still on the fence a bit, so I'll let you know when we get there. Okay, so for today, Teddy Designer Top, again, it's got the two versions. I'm going to be making the shorter one, although the longer one, it's literally just a longer version of the shorter one, so they're made what appears virtually the same way. This is my first time making this pattern, so we'll be making it right along together. Fabric for this, linen, silk, and crepe. So because this is a boxier top, something with a little bit of drape can be nice. It kind of depends on what you want. If you're wanting something that stands away from the body, I think a cotton could be great with this as well. I mean, a linen is going to stand away from the body like a cotton. Similar. Cottons will be a little bit more bodied. But yeah, I think that just kind of depending on the silhouette you want and how tinty that you kind of want it, the look you're going for. Obviously, the more drapier fabrics are going to look fantastic as well, just because they'll help with the drape. It not be drapey. I have gone for mine with this Brussels washer linen. It's Robert Kaufman. It is a linen rayon blend. So it is linen, but it's going to have a little bit of drape with that rayon. My daughter does have a larger bust, so it's something that doesn't stand too far off of that. Yeah, which is what I do love for certain applications. I really do love the linen rayon blend. I think it is the crispness of linen but still drape with that rayon. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to be using for her top. And it's a good weight, this fabric is, especially for being such a light color. Obviously this is a white, but you can't see through it. So I think this is going to be great for the top. I've already washed and dried mine. I've washed it in the washing machine on a cold cycle and then put it in the dryer. Now, once this is made up, I'll wash it in the washing machine on a delicate cycle and then let it air dry. And then usually after it's air dried, before I wear things or have her wear things, I'll pop it in the dryer for just like 5 minutes just to kind of soften up the fabric just a little bit, and then it'll be good to go. We embrace the rumple, the linen rumple here in this household, so I probably won't ever, if it has awful wrinkles, I'll iron it, but for the most part, we just let the rumple, kind of like what it's got going on here, this kind of rumple. So it's all been pre-treated. Really the only other notion that you need for this pattern is interfacing, and I will be using Palmer Pletch, their Perfect Fuse, their medium. I keep their medium Perfect Fuse and their sheer Perfect Fuse on hand pretty much, and it's what I used for about 90% of my interfacing needs, so I kind of keep that on hand. I'm going to use the heavier weight, the medium, and the heavier weight of those because I really want that collar to stand up really nice and neat. So we're going to be using the interfacing on the inside facings. There's an inside back facing as well as kind of goes into the V, and then also that collar piece has interfacing in it as well. And I'm assuming that probably, yeah, the hem facing also has interfacing on it, which will be nice because that'll help weight it a little bit. Yeah. This pattern is it's shorter in the front and it gets just a little bit longer in the back, which is why I think it'd be so cute with a pair of skinny trousers or even leggings if you wanted to. For my almost 15-year-old, I think that would be kind of a cute look as well. Gosh, it would be really cute even like with her leggings and like her Doc Marten boots. That'd be really cute. Sky's the limit. Okay, so that's really all we need for this pattern. As far as supplies, I'll be using my regular Gutermann Mara 100 thread. That is a polyester thread. I use the Gutermann Mara 100 for almost all of my sewing projects. I get mine from Wawak because you can get thread for just a fantastic price if you are in North America. They have a Canadian outlet and also a United States store, but I have the color card, so for 30 bucks you can get the color card for that, and then you've got the color card so you can match your fabrics and then order your thread that way. It's just so much more economical than going to a box store and buying thread. Anyway, so that's what I'll be using on this project, but other than that, that's all we got. That's all the supplies we've got. So this isn't going to be a very long video today because I want to wait and start sewing in its own video, so that'll be next week, but I'm going to take you over to the cutting table and I'll talk you through her measurements and what size we're going to make, and then what pieces you need to have cut out, and then which ones need to be interfaced. So we'll go to the cutting table for that now, and yeah, I will see you guys again next week, and we'll start sewing next week. Bye. Okay, so let's talk about sizing really quickly. So, oops, sorry. I have a dehumidifier in our basement now since the flooding. Needed to turn that off. Okay. So their sizing chart for all their patterns is actually on their website. My daughter's measurements are a 31 upper bust, a 34.5 full bust, 26-inch waist, and a 35-inch hip. So when I went to the size chart on Style Arc, that put her in between a size 6 and an 8. So I went over here now to the pattern, and this is basically all the instructions you get for the pattern. So this is for a size 10. I don't know why they just give the finished measurements for one size, but I guess they figure that you can, and I bought the size 4 to 16 pack. So maybe it's a different size that they go off of if you buy the larger size pack, the other size pack. But they give you the finished measurements just for the size 10, but it does say that there's a 2-inch grade in this circumference between the sizes. So that means, so for a size 10, the bust is 45 inches. So that means for an 8, it would be 43, and for a 6, it would be 41. And since her full bust is 34.5, I'm like, that is plenty of ease. Almost, I've been finding the more Style Arc patterns I make, because they are looser fitting garments most of the time, I can size down because I fall in between a couple sizes too. So that's what I've been finding. And then it doesn't really matter what the hip or the waist measurement are because it's very kind of swings out and is trapeze. So that's how I decided to make a size 6 for her. So again, her full bust is 34.5. I'm not going to worry about any kind of full bust adjustment because there's plenty of ease here. And yeah, so the finished measurement for a size 10 is a 45, and then there's a 2-inch difference between the sizes, according to this right here. So that would mean that for a size 6, it would be a 41 inches, which is plenty of room for her bust. So that's how I picked my size. Also on this little instruction sheet, it's going to list the pieces that you need to have, and it'll tell you what you need to cut for each one. Now, this pattern is a top and a tunic, so obviously I don't need the tunic front and back or the tunic front and back hem facings because I'm making just the top. So these 4 pieces I don't need. I just need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These other 8 pieces. It also says pockets on here. I guess the pockets are for the tunic, and I see the notches for the pockets, but I don't see a pocket piece. And I don't recall seeing a pocket piece when I was putting the pattern together, so I don't know what that's about. But anyway, I'm making the top. That's a moot point for me. All right, so let's go through the pieces that I need for the top. So first off, I need... This also can get just a little bit confusing just because it'll say cut 1 pair on some of these pieces, which means like a mirrored front, like where you cut out double and you would cut out 2, but they need to be mirrored. So the first one I need is cut 1 of the front on the fold. So this part here is on the fold, and then you cut into the fabric up above here. You also need to mark this notch, but don't cut into this notch because this is actually on the fold. You can see here that hopefully you can see here, that I have just marked that with my Frixion pen. right there, because I'll need that for, it's where I'm going to stitch the collar to there. So I've got all of that marked. Have my notches marked. I did shorten the body on this by 1 inch because even though she's long torsoed, she does want it to be cropped. So I did that. Also make sure that you're marking your notches down here because there's a hem facing. So it is not a band that gets attached to the bottom. It's a facing. So that's going to get sewn and then folded up, which I think is so beautiful, and then top stitched. So it's hard to tell in the line drawings if it's a band or a facing because of the line of stitching that's there. But yeah, it's a facing. So this is as long as this shirt's going to be. There's the stitching line there because the facing gets folded up into it. So keep that in mind if you're thinking of doing the same thing. So there's the front. Then I've got one on the fold of the back. Oh, I also like to clip into center front or center back here. Just make it easier when I'm sewing my neck facing and also my hem facing on. Also shorten this by 1 inch, of course, so that it matches the front. The back is a little longer. It dips down in the back, which I think is great for wearing with leggings. All right, and then you're going to need both of your hem facings. So your front hem facing and your back hem facing, and these both need interfacing. So I've got your back hem facing is curved, your front hem facing is a little straighter. It's actually upside down. So I've got those both cut out on the fold, one of each on the fold, and then I have interfaced the back here, and I'm using the Perfect Fuse medium for this. Okay, so we've got those all cut out. And then we have the front neck facing. Sorry, everything's kind of in a jumble here because I just finished fusing everything. So this gets cut out a little bit on the bias. Just make sure you're watching your grain line there. So we have 2 of these. So this says, facing cut 1 pair of main and fuse, which can get a little confusing. That just means we're going to cut 2 mirror images of one another here. So on, I had the fabric folded on itself. I was cutting out 2 at once, and so, yeah, I get those. And then they both have interfacing on the back. That's what the fuse means. So 2 of those. Put those together. And then we get 2 sleeve bands, which I've got right here. These are what finish off kind of the cuff. These do get cut out on the bias. These do not get any fusing. It just says to cut 1, what does it say? Cut 1 pair, which means, that just can get kind of confusing. Cut 2. I don't know why. Maybe just a difference in, they're in Australia. So there we have that. So 2 of those, and those get cut on the bias. Make sure you're watching your grain lines. Just going to finish that off really nicely. And then we've got 1 back neck facing here. You just cut out 1 of these, and it also gets interfacing on the back. And then we've got 2 collar pieces. So we cut 2 of these out, and I have interfaced both of them. So these are those stand-up collar pieces that gives it that really cool neckline right here. So I have cut out, it says 1 pair, main and fuse. So I just went ahead and interfaced both, mostly because this is a linen rayon blend that I'm using, and I don't want this collar to be floppy at all. So I interfaced both. And I think I would do that even if I were using a crisper, like an all linen fabric. So anyway, so there's all your pieces. Minimal pieces. And the only alteration I've made to this top is just to shorten the body by 1 inch because she does want it cropped. Okay, so next week we're going to go through sewing it together. They do include this somewhat handy a little diagram that kind of color codes and shows you what pieces go where on here. And then also they had a diagram for cutting out because they don't do layers, which is annoying, where you can only print off like 1 or 2 sizes that you need. And there's not a printing guide. So, other than this, I guess I could have printed this out and then decided which pages I didn't want to print. Because, I didn't need any of this or this because those are the tunics. But anyway, that is everything that is included in your pattern. So, yeah, get all your fabric cut out and get everything fused that you need to get fused. And next week we will start sewing. See you then.